See how you've just connected to energy. See how you just brought yourself into the present moment, and see how then, as you found the present moment, as you found that infinite energy in the present moment, then you became aware of the position of your body. Then you began to open your eyes, and as you began to open your eyes, you're still in that present moment. You're still holding that energy. That's how manifestation takes place. You are bringing that energy into this body. Today we're going to be talking about manifestation. Don't get distracted. Stay present. Doesn't matter what's happening around you. Stay present. Your capacity to be able to stay present in your body will determine your capacity to be able to manifest through your body. So as I said, today we're going to be talking about manifestation. What you guys just did in that meditation, or the intention of that meditation, and I know everyone here has the capacity to do what I just said, is to be able to meditate and feel complete presence. Okay, yes, some of you have thoughts going in your head, but just like we do in the WTF experience, where we do the oneness meditation, you get to that point where you are in that emptiness, where you are in that space, and I ask the question, what matters now? And everyone says nothing, because you're in infinity. You are feeling, or you are sensing infinity. Okay? So then the question is, how do you bring infinity into the finite experience? How do you bring it into or through the finite experience? So the idea of that meditation was, just in case I'm describing it to you, just in case you didn't experience that, you can do this later on. The idea of that meditation was for you to feel that emptiness, feel the present moment, feel that infinity, feel the sensations of that energy, and then bring your awareness into your body. And as you're bringing your awareness into your body, you're bringing that energy with you. You're bringing that infinity with you into the present moment. The moment you come back into your body and you start thinking, the infinity goes. So that's why I just keep saying, stay with that energy. So that means stay in the present moment. Just keep staying in the present moment. I want you to experience that. I want you to practice that throughout the month. Michael, there's a little exercise for you can do at lunchtime. A bit of practical exercise. Okay? I want you to practice that, because the more and more you connect, you all know what I'm talking about, connecting to the space where it's just nothing matters. You put your hand up if you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Because you've all done WTF, you know what that means. Stay present. I made you put your hand up. Just again, keep coming back. At the moment I made you put up, I felt everyone just go, oh, okay, we don't have to be present anymore. Stay present. So you all know that space, that sensation of what infinity feels like. It's just nothing matters, and you just want to stay there, right? Whenever we do that meditation in the program, people come to me and go, I just wanted to stay there. So the practice then becomes about, well, how do you stay there while being here? Okay? And that happens by you being the energy that moves the body. I want you to notice this. I want you to notice the moment you choose to come out of that state, the moment you choose to come out of that meditation, and you become aware of your body, and maybe you move your body, keep sensing the energy. In that moment, you're noticing manifestation. You're noticing yourself manifest the body. In that moment, you're noticing how manifestation works. You can keep sensing the energy. You're bringing the energy, or more correctly stated, you're continuing to become aware of the energy that is. So you're not going back to the drop. You're still staying as the ocean, but you're no longer the drop of the ocean, like we talk about the WTF. You're now the ocean moving the bottle being the body. You're no longer the drop in the bottle. You are the ocean. I'll invite you to practice that throughout this month, and keep going to the space where nothing matters, and then keep practicing coming back. And as you're coming back, just slowly come back, and slowly notice that you're bringing the present, or you're staying in that present energy. You're bringing that infinite energy. This is how you manifest. Okay? Well, that is how you will have a direct experience of manifestation happening. Another practice that I would like you to invite you to do is when you're waking up. The moment, I'm talking about when you're sleeping at night time, the moment you wake up, the moment you can feel your eyes opening, just notice yourself coming into the body. Who can feel when they fall asleep? It's as though they go out of the body and they just start floating in space. Does anyone feel that? Just in that moment when you're falling asleep? So you notice it when you're falling asleep. But what happens is that the moment you open your eyes in the mornings, you start bringing finiteness into your body. You start to think, and you immediately becoming limited. But notice the transition. I'm just trying to get you to notice the transition. If you can notice the transition of coming back from that energy that's just floating when you're dreaming, and then coming into the body. If you can notice that transition, if you can bring awareness into that transition, you'll be watching how manifestation works. Rather than me having to teach you, you can actually have a direct experience, and then you'll be like, what's happening there? You can have an awareness of it. So it's a big topic with manifestation. I say it's a big topic because it's a topic that your ego wants to get involved in. You know, I'm talking about manifestation. I'm talking about the one manifesting. And at the moment I start to speak about that, the ego gets involved immediately, because it's a very interesting conversation for the ego, because it can manifest more of its identities. It can manifest more positive and negative charges. But the thing is, the ego can't use this. It thinks it's using it, but it's not. So before we even start to open up and dissect and have this conversation of manifestation, what I want to do is I want to throw out to the group to have a discussion of what, the only word I can find is, what is the characteristics of the one manifesting, and what is the characteristics of the ego manifesting. What I'm trying to get you to realize, or what I'm trying to get you to identify with, is when the ego is coming through and looking to manifest. Because we can talk about manifesting right now. You can walk out of this room and then your ego will be just coming out trying to manifest. It doesn't work. And even if it does work, like, because you created it in a limited way, and you created it to experience lack. So there's no use talking about a manifestation until we first talk about the difference between the one manifesting and the ego attempting to use manifestation. Because we know the more conscious you become, the more your ego uses, the ego doesn't become conscious, but the more the ego uses the same words and goes, I can manifest this. Okay? It's very simple when it's the one manifesting versus the ego manifesting. Why don't we start with the ego first. How do you know when it's the ego manifesting? Let's just speak loud into the circle so the voice carries through.
Attachment.
So there's an attachment, okay?
Emotional charge.
So it's coming from emotional charge, or it's going towards emotional charge. Yep.
There's thinking and analysis involved.
There's thinking and analysis involved, okay?
There's an agenda.
There's an agenda. Keep going until we get it to the most simple form. So we can put all the things that you're saying into one little thing and put a ribbon around it and go, that's the one.
Tries to give you identity.
It's trying to build this identity. Yes?
It's coming from a space of fear.
It's coming from a space of fear. We're going to simplify it just like we do every month. So you can go, that's it. I don't want you to go, hang on, is this analyzing? Am I coming from a space of fear? Am I attached? Am I coming from fear? You know, like list out all the things that I just want you to be able to go in one moment, ask one question and go, okay, that's ego.
It's a need.
Yeah.
It's a need, yes. It's a need.
Is it true to me?
Is it true to me? So if it's ego, it's not true, which means it's coming from an agenda.
It's choosing.
It's choosing between two.
Yeah.
Is it better? Is it worse? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it good? Is it bad? Is this the positive thing or is this the negative thing? The ego doesn't care if it's positive or negative. Either way, through positive and negative, it weaves its identity through that.
It's controlling
It's controlling.
the choices and control as you like.
Yep. So if we can get all those things, I think someone's already kind of covered it. How do we know it's the ego? If we can put all those things into one category. How do we know it's the ego trying to manifest? Okay, yeah, it's correct. Control is correct. I'm trying to come up with a more generic.
Somehow it doesn't feel true.
Yes, it doesn't feel true. And Rachel's already said it. What was it? It needs to manifest it. Oh, but I know that sounds simple, but I just want you to really think about that and really feel why that's true. It needs to manifest it. Well, why don't we come back to that in a moment? Let's look at an infinite being. When something's an infinite being and it's manifesting, how do you know it's the infinite being manifesting? How do you know it's the one manifesting? What's different?
Sounds like it's already there.
It's something, or did you say sounds like? It's
Yeah.
something that's already there. Because it's infinite. It's not manifesting something that's not there. It's manifesting something that's there. Now, it may not be there in form, but the thing is, what's form anyway? What's the truth about physical reality? Hey? Yes?
Yeah, manifestation.
Yes, but what's physical matter scientifically? It's actually formless. There's no such thing as form. It's actually even formless. If you know that this is formless, then you know this is infinity and you can manifest it. But anyway, getting diverted really quickly, but coming back to that. You were close to it, like we're on the right track.
It's already chosen.
Okay, so yes, we'll come back around to that as well. The infinite being has already chosen. It's not choosing. It's very weird to say that, but the decision's made. So then you think, well, when was the decision made? Because it doesn't make a decision where, like a finite being. The decision is made. So when you connect with yourself, when people go, I need to check in, what you need to check in with is the decision that's already made.
Just tapping into the possibility.
Yes, it's tapping into possibility. So what differentiates the infinite being and the ego when it's manifesting?
It's a want.
What's a want there?
You want that manifestation rather than you need.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you love that manifestation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes.
It has a neutrality about
Not attached to
it.
the
There's
effort.
no.
Okay. Not attached. Not. It's neutral, which means what?
Oh, when
Just simplify it.
It's coming from a place of love.
Just simplify it. Ego. How do you know it's ego? It's just simple, really. The ego needs to manifest. The one or something that's infinite doesn't need it, but why? Because it's already there. Because it already has it. Just like when you go to that energy, in that moment, when you're present, and I ask the question, what really matters? Nothing. It's not like nothing comes up. I would love to do this. I would love to be there. It's just like nothing. And you don't want to, and if I ask you one more question that says, is there anywhere you would like to be? You'd say, no, I don't want to leave here. Nothing matters. So just go back into your life and look at all the things you're trying to manifest and just see who's manifesting. You see, the one or the infinite doesn't need to manifest it. It doesn't require it. But this is very confusing for the human, as we analyze this, it's very confusing. Because you're probably thinking, well, if it doesn't need to manifest, then
What are we talking about?
exactly. Why are we talking about it? Or why are we trying to manifest anything? Let's not even talk about manifesting because you don't need to manifest anything. Why are you talking, Amir, about manifestation? Because we only know we only know need. We're driven by need. Well, I'm talking about the ego. Need. And when you take need away, it's almost like it's alien. Well, what now? The best way for me to describe this to you is to remind you of what we talk about in the WTF program when I give the example of two people being in a relationship. And I said usually a human-made relationship is driven by need. The person needs to be with the other person because that person is loving the part of themselves they haven't yet loved. So when they are loving the part of themselves they haven't loved, they feel loved. So then they don't love the other person, they need them to love that part of themselves. Remember we talked about that? Who knows what I'm talking about? Okay. But then I say, if an individual then goes and loves the part of themselves they haven't yet loved, they will no longer need to find someone else, or to buy those shoes, or to buy that car, or to get more money, or whatever it is, okay, that represents love. They don't need to go and find, I'll keep this example with relationships, they don't need to go and find someone else to love the part of themselves they haven't yet loved. You remember that? Okay? So then the question goes, well, hang on a sec. If you no longer need to find someone to love the part of you that you haven't yet loved, then you no longer need to be in a relationship. Right? And always someone in the program goes, well, hang on. Well, why would you be in a relationship if you don't need to be in one? Because you love to. You see, the moment you take need away, because we're so consumed in it's our addiction to do what we need to do, when I say you don't need to manifest, well, it's like, well, why talk about anything then? There's nothing to talk about. In the moment that you no longer need to manifest, that's when you can manifest. And that's when you can manifest what you love. And that's when you can manifest out of love, for love, into love. Need is moved aside. Do you see that? It's the same example. Is this dropping in for you guys? So the biggest illusion is you look at your life, something's not whole, something's not complete, and then you go, I need to manifest. But you're doing that out of need. And that's the ego. Need comes from fear. Fear is a different version of love. It's a different manifestation of love. And in the manifestation of fear, its role is to be limited. Its role is to be finite. So whatever it manifests, it will give you a finite, limited experience. And it doesn't matter how much money you manifest out of fear or out of need, you will still feel limited. Doesn't matter how many relationships or how successful your relationship may seem, you will still feel limited in that relationship. Doesn't matter how big your home is, how big your career is, how big your profile in the community is, you will still feel limited. Because when you do something from need, it's designed to give you a limited feeling. It's not a good or bad thing. Fear is just a different color of the same rainbow of love. It's the same thing. Just fear, love, manifests itself into fear, and the role of fear is to be small. The role of fear is to be limiting. And you guys know this. Every time you continue to do something out of need, it doesn't work. But how do you get out of that pattern of need? It's like, but I need to do this. Right? How do you get out of that pattern? So the first thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys is get you to realize, before I go into manifestation and your ego is chopping at it, going, oh, yeah, this is awesome, right? Is just get you to realize when it's your ego manifesting and when it's you manifesting. I mean, just go back into your life and think of a time where you didn't really need something, but it came to you anyway. Go and find something in your memory. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's money, maybe it's something to do with health. We no longer needed it, or maybe you even really, really wanted it at some stage. And you no longer needed it. For whatever reason, you just went, you know what, I don't need this anymore. I no longer need this. And identify that time and just see if you can remember what it felt like to not need it, and then go, yeah, but I'll have it. Or I won't have it. You see, this is how you can find out what is true for you. Most people, when I talk about at the WTF, do what's true for you, they still don't know what's true for them, because they go, this is what I need, and then the ego goes, this is what's true for me. You see? Or they will feel what's true for them, all right? But then they go, I need money in order for me to do this, or I need money in order for me to sustain this, or whatever it is. If it's not money, it'll be something else. So then they begin to do what's true for them, but then what's fueling what's true for them is no longer the heart, it's the agenda. Well, we need to make money. Money part is important. Can you see? No, just do what's true for you. Yes, the money part's important, but that's not your problem. It's not your issue. There's a part of you that's manifesting, and you don't have to have your awareness of how that part's manifesting. It's not your issue to manifest the tides going in and out right now. It's not your issue to make sure that the earth is turning at the right angle, at the right speed right now. It's not your issue to make sure that the galaxy and all the other galaxies are in the right position, and the stars are being born, and the stars are, some stars are dying. It's not. There's another part of you that's doing that. It's not your issue to ensure the person next to you's heartbeat is still beating. But there's a part of you that's manifesting all that. You don't need to worry about that part. You need to, well, not worry, you don't need to worry about anything, but you need to place your attention on that feeling of what's true for you, that feeling that is come out of just this one little part of you. That's all you need to place your attention on. Just bring the feeling out. And bringing the feeling out means doing what's true for you. But you can only start to become clear of what's true for you when you understand and you put aside the need. Because, like I said, the ego is very intelligent, and then it will go, I need this, and then it will go, no, I want to do it just, and then your ego will go, no, I've got to do what's true for me. Oh, this is true for me. But it's not. You attach your need to what's true for you. You know when it's true for you because there's a sense of freedom when you begin to follow what's true for you. It doesn't become a future thing. You don't know where it's going, but you feel certainty in where you are. When you're in that space, you don't know where that space is going. It is all unknown. It's nothing. You're in the empty space. It's a nothingness. You don't even know why you're there. You don't even know where it's going. But there's a sense of certainty. There's a sense of safeness in that certainty. It's like death, when people have death, right? When they're beginning to die, when they're still holding onto the body, they freak out. But you can see some people who are just beginning to see or connect to that space, and then they're okay. They're like, I'm ready to go. Because they're beginning to sense the space that they're falling into. All you're going is back into that space. All right. Let's get to the next component of this day. Let's just go around and see how you guys feel about that so far. What's come up for you, and then I'll bring in the next component. What's come up for you? Has anything clicked in, or has any charges come up, or how do you guys feel about that so far? Yes.
So, just to give you an example, I think I shared last time about my business and how it's all just evolved organically, just by just following what's true.
Yep.
And recently, somebody came to me saying they want to invest in me. So, okay, great, because it's going to help grow.
Yep.
But to do this, I have to put together all this business plan,
Yep.
do all these numbers, all stuff that I had feeling like just absolute confidence in everything I'm doing. But then in creating, doing all those numbers, doing the business plan,
Yep.
I found that brought me back to my ego.
How did you know that?
Very easily. Because I started looking at the numbers going, shit, look how much money I can make.
Okay. I know but how did you feel when you went into the ego? What was the feeling of it? How was it different?
It's not like I was very quick to become aware of it.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing that
Did you feel heavy? Did you feel light?
because it kind of excited me,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I felt like, is this the right place to? Is this right for me to place my attention that's
Yeah.
when I started questioning myself.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, I've just been following my instinct,
Yeah.
just going with the flow. And then all of a sudden, I've got this plan. So what do I do? So then I go to my head and start questioning myself. What am I supposed to do? So
Yeah.
in that, questioning myself, that's where the head was going.
Right.
Not to do with the plan. The plan's great,
Yeah.
but in the questioning myself.
So what did you do?
Came here.
Okay. How did you feel about it when it first happened? What was your sense? Can you pinpoint the first feeling that you felt?
Well, it was different because, I mean, the fact that someone wanted to invest in me in the first place, it's just more confirmation on my part, regardless of the money. So it was initially like excitement. But then as I started doing the plan and started crunching the numbers and getting into it, yeah, that's where I started. I don't know. I started questioning myself. Should I be doing this plan, or should I just keep doing what I'm doing?
So which part of you do you reckon is questioning yourself?
It's my ego.
Okay. So the ego's questioning itself.
Yeah.
So if you weren't questioning yourself, how would you feel?
There would be no feeling.
What would you be doing?
Just getting on with it. Just doing what I was doing before.
Which was?
Just following my instinct.
So what is your instinct saying then?
And I'm still on the right path.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you already know. Okay. I think throughout the day some more things will click in as well for you as we talk about the infinite. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Are you guys sitting with it or are you guys thinking about it? Thinking.
I've had the time where, you know, in a relationship years ago where I think I was in it out of fear and then finally let go of all the needs and at the time I didn't realise I was doing all that. And the whole weight of when I walked away from a 7.5-year relationship and felt free and just all the better things just happened. But now I think I'm chasing that feeling again, but it's the ego chasing. So I'm trying to, yeah,
Which feeling are you chasing?
that allowing fear not to drive my actions and allowing and being and I just remember feeling so secure and everything that I've yearned previously when I let go of all the things that were holding me into that relationship. When I finally let go, I got it. It was, but I kind of gone in reverse over life.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, just trying to, but then not falling into the lazy trap was sitting thinking, oh yeah, it'll happen one day. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's the next thing. We've been able to identify that the ego is coming from need. The part of you that's manifesting doesn't need to manifest. Okay? So what happens when you notice that there is need? What happens when you notice that there is need?
There's fear.
Yes, there's fear, but what do?
You try to feel it.
You try to
Feel it.
feel the need. Okay, so knowing that you can't feel it, what can you do?
I do that process with you just said.
Yes.
I literally listen to you every day and do that. And
How does that working for you?
oh, it's pretty good at the moment.
Pretty good at the moment?
What process is that?
That's-
How, if the need wasn't there, how would it feel?
It's
And I
very-
just- yeah.
It's very simple. It's very simple process, and is a very, very powerful process. Okay, the simple ones are the most powerful ones. All right, it is to identify the need. If you want, we can do one right now. Okay, just close your eyes for a moment. All right, and just let float into your mind whatever you think you need. You don't. This is not a head thing, so don't look for what you need. It'll just pop up. You already know what you need because it consumes space in your mind. You think about it all the time. You have discomfort around it. It's already in your mind as I'm speaking to you. It just pops up. You're like, oh, there it is. I feel like I need that. And then the next thing we do is to identify the feeling we're after, because everything's always about a feeling. Everything's always about the formless part of you, which is the feeling. So then it's to identify. It's not that what you want, it's the feeling. So for example, many people say, I need more money. All right? So then it's like, well, what's the feeling that you have when you have more money? How would you feel? How would you feel if you had more money, for example? Then a lot of people may say, I will feel safe, I will feel secure. So you're looking for the feeling of security. So once you've identified what the feeling is, then you ask yourself a question. This is not about letting go. I want you to just comfort your ego and let your ego know that we're not trying to let go of feeling whatever it is. We're not trying to let go of the need. Okay? Most people think we're trying to let go of the need. If you're trying to let go of the need, the ego will come in here. Once you realize what the feeling is that you need, ask one question. Just pose a question. What does it feel like if you were no longer to need whatever that feeling is? So for example, what would it feel like if I was no longer to need to feel safe, or need to feel secure, or need to feel loved, or need to feel appreciated? Whatever the feeling is, just pose the question. What does it feel like if I was no longer needing to feel this? And then you'll notice there is another feeling there. What do you guys notice? It's very simple. It's instant. The moment you ask the question, what does it feel like if I no longer needed to feel loved, for example? The moment you ask that question, there's this space around the very thing that's being consumed, that's consuming space. You feel the space, and guess what you feel? Loved. Safe. The very thing that you're looking for. Now, it's quite amazing. You've got to do this quite a few times. The coin starts to drop. Okay, you're not trying to get rid of it. You just start to realize I've already got it, and you just naturally let it go. Because if you try to get rid of it, you're trying to fix, improve, or change it, and all you're doing is reinforcing the need. You don't want to try to get rid of it, and the ego will fight you anyway because the need is part of its identity. So the ego will fight you. Just do not try to get rid of it. I always even reassure my ego and say, I'm not going to try to get rid of it, I just have a question. Please let me ask this question. And I ask the question, what does it feel like if I no longer needed to feel loved? And I just wait, and then I just feel this space. I can feel it. I feel love. But then you think to yourself, hang on a sec, I was looking for a relationship to find love. If you do this over and over again a few times, you start to see, I don't need love. I don't need to feel loved. I am loved. You start to feel that love. I don't need to feel safe. I feel safe. You do that a few times and you start to realize I don't need security. I don't need that's when you can have it. The question is, do you practice this? It's powerful. So tell me about your experience. We just did that, it wasn't really a meditation, but I just ran through what popped up. Like I said, if you're trying to get rid of it, you feel like, oh, something's missing. The ego will be like, some people will go, I felt empty. I felt like something was taken away from me. That's because you're trying to get rid of it. The question is not to try to get rid of it. What does it feel like if you're no longer to need it? You're just asking. It's a feeling thing. You're after this feeling, whatever feeling you're after. Well, what does it feel like if you no longer need it to feel that way? Boom, the feeling pops up, and you're like, oh my God, that feeling is right here. You guys get what I'm saying? Tell me about your experience.
I just feel a lot lighter, very
Yeah,
almost instantly.
instantly, right? So what was the emotion that you were after?
I think it was respect.
Respect. Okay, so you're looking for respect,
Yeah.
right? So then the question is, what does it feel like to no longer need to feel respected?
Wow.
And then automatically, okay, you find that in that lightness there's respect. And in that lightness it's the same feeling of what I was talking to you about when we talk about the energy. To try to get respect becomes almost irrelevant because it's almost like you have it.
Yeah.
I've already got it's like in that space. What truly matters? Nothing. What truly matters now? Nothing. Good morning. Who else wants to share the experience? Lou, how did you go? Are you here? Okay, so how did you go?
Sorry, I had trouble thinking because I'm happy in my space.
Okay.
But what came up was I was needing to feel loved, and I manifested that from the ego. I said that, and it was temporary. And when I sit with it, like how would it feel to not need to feel loved? I feel loved.
So how does that make you feel?
Amazing. Like just, I haven't got a word for it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and if you just keep doing that, every time you do it, you drop into to deeper point,
Yeah.
and then you just, I don't know what happens, but somewhere in your mind you just go, well, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay? And whatever you've associated with the feeling of getting that, for example, I'm not saying this for you, for example, I need to have sex to feel loved.
Yeah.
Okay? Then you started to no longer need that.
Yeah.
Some of you are going, well, I want to need sex. Okay? Yeah, but there's a difference. When you no longer need sex, you can experience the love in sex. Otherwise, you're experiencing the need of sex.
Or the connection.
Or the same thing with recognition. If you need recognition, then every time you get recognition, you're getting its need. So what does that mean? It means you get recognized, you have a moment of, and then you can't hold on to it, and then you need more of it. You become like a drug addict. Okay, that's what it becomes like. And but if you no longer need to feel recognition, when you get recognition, you're experiencing love. People are recognizing you, and you're experiencing love. You're not like, but when you know how you know you're experiencing love when someone's recognized you. It's not making you excited. You still stay neutral. Be aware of the business plan that makes you excited, or the proposition that makes you excited. If you think about excitement, both excitement or depression, positive or negative, are both a clinging on feeling. Even though when you're getting excited, you're like that, but you're still, it's clinging, it's closed. Yeah, be aware of that, okay? Because that's not real, and it's temporary. Yeah.
Any form of excitement will be the same.
Yeah, any form of excitement. The moment you're being excited, you're putting power into something in that same moment. You're labeling. Yeah, but happiness, when you just experience happy and joy, The way I can describe this is the same as when you're experiencing happiness for no reason.
That's
Yeah, you're just happy. But that's not, yeah, I'm happy. It's just like,
yeah.
it's open. You see, it's not,
Yeah, for me,
it's not,
it's like I'm going to be the man.
yeah.
That's what it felt like, so.
And you will be, but it's temporary. And then you'll need to be the man. You need to maintain it. You can't hold on to it. That's the problem. Okay, so just remember that exercise. Who actually uses that? Right. It's in the meditation CD. But you don't need the meditation CD, it's very simple. Just, what does it feel like to no longer need it? You just stop and go, what does it feel like to no longer need this? And you're just like, it's just a weird feeling. It's instant relief. Now, you may go back to needing it, but you do that a few times, you start to realize, well, I actually don't need that. It happens unconsciously. Suddenly you realize you're no longer driven towards that. And you're like, and things come around, like, or maybe a business deal comes around, and you're just like, yeah, no, I don't need that. You know? I remember, I relate to your story, because when I first started Be Free, at that stage in my life, I had gone right down. You know, my last business was successful. I sold up here, but then I did nothing but ponder and search and look for the truth. My finances went down to here. So when I first wanted to start Be Free, I was looking for, well, I need money to start this. I need, maybe I need an investment of some sort. But, and of course, I needed that, and I didn't really have that. And at the same time, I wanted to do what was true for me and not plan and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just started doing what was true for me. And as I was doing what was true for me, I started to climb up. I started to climb back up, and then people would come up to me and go, oh, invest money into this. Do you want money for this? And maybe you can make it bigger than what you want. And I was like, no, I don't need money, because if I need money, I'll just manifest it. You see, I got to that point. Can you see? Now, I could manifest it through an investor, all right? But there's no agenda there. But you know when it's your manifestation, because there's no agenda. So anyway, my long story short, I didn't take any investments whatsoever. I mean, wanting to start in America, the first thought would be, well, we need some investors. What for? I didn't need it. Well, see, when you don't need it, then you'll feel what's true for you. And then if it feels true for you to get there, there's no right or wrong. If it feels true to join partnerships with someone, then you do it. But you don't do it because you need to.
And I just realised that through doing my business plan, I started to need it.
Yeah. There you go. Or even a relationship. Same thing. Now, if you are experiencing need in a relationship, that's okay. But just notice that, and notice that the person is only showing up to show a reflection of the part of you that you perceive to need. So then use that mirror and go and find what you think you need. How does that person make you feel? What are they providing? They make me feel safe. They make me feel whatever it is. It always comes down to, everything always comes down to love, I can tell you that. And at the end of the day, it comes down to love. And when you realize you're already loved, because who you are is love, when you keep connecting to that space and realizing the love is there, every single time you connect to that space and keep realizing the love is there, you start trusting and going, shit, this love is there all the time. The love I'm getting in the story comes and goes. And you start to rely on that more and more. And that starts to become your power. And that's where you manifest from. You can only manifest from love.
I find it really interesting that the things that you thought would bring you certain feelings, you start feeling the stuff without having to need to not there.
Yeah.
But now it's there.
Yeah.
And it's not there through the normal way, or what we thought was the normal way.
Yeah.
And that's like interesting.
Yeah.
It's a new way of thinking, or way of whatever.
It never comes the way you think it's meant to.
Yeah.
Because your thinking is finite. Okay? This is coming from an infinite way. And in the infinite way, it's got to come in a way that's also not affecting the tides and affecting someone else. Do you understand? It's got to affect people in in how it's true. Because as you manifest something into form, it creates, it's like putting a pond in a rock, a pebble into a pond. It creates a ripple. So the moment you manifest something formless into physical form, you're making a ripple into the universe, right? So you just decide what feels true. And this is the thing. You're not even deciding what feels true. This is the main. Your infinite part of you is deciding what's true. It's who you truly are that is actually choosing that. You just feel that in the form of, I love to do this. And then you think, I decided that I love to do this. Okay? And then you get in the way. But the thing is to decide, the trick or the art is to let that feeling come up without you getting in the way. See, the feeling arises. I was speaking about this over the weekend at WTF. The feeling rises, and the moment it comes to here, you bring your thoughts and go, but this is going to be difficult. This is going to be this is going to be, it's not going to happen. I can't do this. Or this is going to be hard, or what people will think this of me. So then the way the manifestation comes is influenced by your thoughts. So you're limiting the manifestation. You let it come however it's meant to come out. Okay, so I never look at trying to control the manifest. Well, if this is to manifest, then I need to have this much money. You're looking at the story. The story is finite. You don't make the decision based on the story. You make the decision based on a feeling. Do you guys get that yet? It's just the feeling's there. You say yes to the feeling, then you can look at the story. But most people have the feeling, and then they go, what about the story? Oh no, it's not possible. It's just the feeling. The feeling's coming from infinity. The story is finite. Why? Because the story is the manifested. You can't change the manifested. It's manifest, it's finite. It's limited, you can't change it. Okay? I don't try to change this chair because I don't like it. I don't sit here going, I just manifest a new chair. Can you see? You don't change your life. You just manifest a new one. You remember the analogy I give in the WTF? I used the iceberg analogy, and I say your iceberg is like your life. Your iceberg is like who you are as the physical. The ocean is who you truly are. The iceberg is floating on the ocean. The iceberg is one little bit of the ocean. It's a drop of the ocean. The ocean's huge. It's infinite. The iceberg is finite. Who you are is formless, liquid, ocean. Who you think you are is form, iceberg, physical. Right? It's more difficult to go and change the iceberg, chisel the iceberg, send scuba divers underneath to change the shape of the iceberg. It's much easier to go to the ocean and just manifest another fucking iceberg. Can you understand? Melt the old iceberg back into the ocean and you manifest it. So this most people try to do it. This is why fixing, proving, changing doesn't work. It's the manifested. It's a lot of hard work. You don't need to do that. You just manifest a new iceberg. But guess what's going to stop you manifesting a new iceberg? You looking at the old iceberg. That's why they say, don't look at what you don't want. You looking at the iceberg, I don't want this. Okay, well look at what you want. When you look at what you want, the old iceberg melts back into the ocean and you manifest a new form. This is how the one manifests. It doesn't go and change the current manifestation, because the current manifestation is finite. So the moment you go to change that, you become finite. I just manifest the new. Yes.
Sorry, I know what you were saying earlier about that feeling.
Yeah.
I've had an experience with that when we decided to move here. We had this feeling come up to move, and at one point my head got in the way, thinking, how am I going to pay for that?
Yeah.
But then when I was able to reconnect to that feeling and let that go, the money just turned up for us to actually travel across the country.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what that feeling feels like.
Yeah. Interesting enough, these guys traveled across the country and they didn't even know, they didn't have a job. They didn't know where they were going to go. They came to Sydney, not knowing why they came to Sydney, drove all the way from Perth to Sydney, arrived in Sydney, and Ryan, Melanie's husband, started working at our company, and then Melanie came and worked at our company. She's a nurse. Then she's running events. and running our office. Just following a feeling. Yesterday, who was at the WTF yesterday? There's 3 or 4 of you, 5 of you there. You saw that girl got up on stage. We had a girl who came up to me and she comes up to me, she goes, Amir, I get all this stuff. And I always get that one. I get all this stuff. I know it's true, right? And then she goes, what I really want to do, what really feels true, is for me to go and study and, I'm a mum, but I want to go study. So she's already going to the story. She goes, I want to go study, and she's already bringing her story into it. I want to go study, and I want to help people. She wanted to be a what? A youth worker. I want to work with kids. I want to be a youth worker. I know that feels true. And as she's telling me, she goes, I'm a mum. I'm a single mum. And I said, and I don't have the money. And where's the money going to come from? I said, the thing is, you haven't made a decision. She goes, no, I have. I've decided. No, you just acknowledge what's true. You haven't decided. I kept going to her, go and decide what's true. She's like, no, I've decided. I said, no, you haven't. And she goes, how do you know? I said, because you're telling me a story. Because I know when someone's decided, they're like, I'm doing this, and they're not looking at the story.
Nothing gets annoying.
Do you understand? It's not like, they're just like, they go, I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. How many times have you said, I don't know how, in other words, I have no logical reason of how this is going to happen, and I'm doing it. That's when I know someone's making a decision. When I decide to go to America and start expanding into America, I mean, who does that? Within 3-4 months of opening an office maybe 6 months of opening an office, we go, hey, let's do another office in America. It's just stupid. It's just like, well, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to follow the feeling. It feels true. So I kept telling her she hasn't made a decision. And then she realized, she walked away, had a bit of a cry, thinking, well, I've decided he doesn't believe me. And then she realized that the last time because this was the second time that she did WTF. The last time she did WTF, she made a decision and she forgot about it. And guess what happened the last time she did WTF? She decided that she loves to live in Brisbane. She's from Melbourne. She goes, I want to live in Brisbane. I love to live in Brisbane. And she goes, and she followed the feeling, goes, I'm going to live in Brisbane. But she didn't know how it's going to happen. She thought, that's it, I'm going to have to quit my job. So she went that day to see her boss. And long story short, the boss goes, she went to quit. The boss goes, she goes, I'm quitting because I'm going to go to Brisbane. I want to live in Brisbane. She goes, the boss goes, funnily enough, we just opened up an office in Brisbane. You can go run the office there. Can you see what I'm saying? But people want reassurance with the story first before they can follow the feeling. But you're getting reassurance from finite. Love and fear, it's like two magnets that when you put negative, is it negative and negative on magnets? It pushes away. It doesn't go love and love. You put the magnet positive, negative, and goes. All it comes down to is using the energy of love. That's all it comes down to. Seriously, that is it. It's as simple as that as manifestation. But we've got to get clear about, well, hang on, what's the energy of love? So the next thing of manifestation that I'm discussing with you is that you don't try to change the current manifestation. You just bring a new manifestation. Because the moment you're trying to change the manifestation, why are you trying to change it?
Because you're trying to avoid a feeling.
You're trying to fix it. Why are you trying to fix it?
You're going to feel something different.
Why are you trying to feel something different? What's wrong with what you're feeling?
Well, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with what I'm feeling right now. But
Yeah, I'm just saying, generally, why do you try to fix something? Because you're not neutral with it, yeah?
You're not happy with it.
You're not happy with it? So if you're not happy with it, it means what?
you need something else.
You need something else, so in other words, you're in judgment of it. You're judging your current experience. So do you think when you're in judgment, you can use the energy of love? No, you accept what is, and then go, what is it that I love? Very simple. Don't try to change. Don't look at what you don't want. Because all you're doing is reinforcing that as real. You never look at what you don't want. You just look at it with neutral eyes and go, oh, that's interesting. Become neutral about it, which is what the whole love process is. I won't go into that right now. Acceptance, embracing, these were things we did in previous months. I won't go into that right now. So you get to a neutral point, and you've all done WTF, so you know how to get to a neutral point. You get to a point of neutral point, and then, but you still go, well, have you ever been neutral and you're like, yeah, I'm over this. It's just not my thing anymore, all right? So then what people do is go, I'm over this, and they try to change what they're over. But you're still playing with finite. You go, yeah, this is not something that's, you may go, but you've got to be really over it, right? But at the neutral point, you just place your attention on what is it that you love. And don't go look for it. Because what most people do is go, yeah, I don't want this anymore, right? And then go, I want to go manifest what I love, and they just go the opposite of this. And that's not necessarily true. For example, you don't have money, I'm going to go manifest money, I want to have money. That's not necessarily true for you. You just go, yeah, I want something new. Let the something new come to you.
That was the biggest turning point for me in the last 6 months, was letting go of what I thought I wanted it to look like and working with what showed up. And everything has changed 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Even to what I actually thought I loved doing.
It does change 180 degrees. And then once you start to use this, it's just practicing and practicing. For me, it's just practicing. Like sometimes the things that, because as I get more confidence, as I start to believe, what happens? Your heart is a knowing, and your head is the belief. As these two start to meet and become one, I start to manifest much bigger things. I don't need to manifest much bigger things, but I have the capacity to do so. Can you see? Sometimes what's true for me is coming to me small because my limitation, my capacity, my space is small. So what's true for you is small things. Oh, I just would love a nice little home, I would just love to, but then it starts to get, as my space becomes bigger, it's like a hose, it starts to open up and more energy starts to flow. So suddenly I'm like, I would love to get that $5 million house, for example. Can you see? But again, that's not me deciding here. Please don't mistaken. I would like that $5 million house. That would be easier. It's not. It comes from a feeling. Suddenly the feeling comes and goes. And you got to wait for the feeling to fully develop. That's the next thing. It's all about. Sometimes the feelings develop. It just hits you. Boom! You act on it. Don't hold off. But sometimes the feeling, what I like to call is it's you kind of impregnated yourself with a feeling, but you got to hold it for a little while, like 9 months, for example, until you can give birth to it. Can you see? I'll give you a couple of examples. Currently, there's a feeling that's starting to, swirl up inside of me, and it's something that I've always had a feeling to do, but now it's starting to get power, and it's to write a script for a movie. And so the idea of the script of the movie is beginning to come to me, but I'm not like getting excited and going, oh, this is, I'm waiting for more of it to come to me, and I continue. The only way I can let the feeling grow is how? Give it space. So I stop and sit and just keep pondering on it. Before I came to talk to you guys, last week, before I knew I was going to do manifestation, it came to me, boom, last year came to me to do manifestation. Boom, I'm doing manifestation. But I have no idea what I'm going to speak to you about. I know how to manifest, but then putting that into words is two different things. Being able to articulate that is two different things. It's like you guys at the WTF, you know the truth, but try putting it into words and tell someone else. At first, it's very difficult to be able to articulate it. Oh, we're all just one, and, you can intellectually articulate it, but it's, someone just goes, what the fuck? But it's different. So the moment that this program was coming, like I knew OMG, I was going to do OMG manifestation, but I had a few months leading up, but nothing came to me in the few months. But as the last week came about, I began to sit and give space. So I connect to the space of manifestation. I connect to the space of infinity, and it's almost like I take a chunk of that space and go and put a label on it and say, manifestation. What's that about? How do I manifest? And I keep reflecting back to my own story and reflecting back to the pondering begins. The way I like to call it, I'm downloading. I start to download and I see images and the words, the pondering starts taking place. In fact, there was once when I was just, one night I was sleeping and I was falling asleep, and just in the middle of when you're just about to fall asleep, like we spoke about before, it was showing me how manifestation, how the energy moves, and then I go and ponder on that. Okay, so what my point is, I just give space to it, it grows. What are we giving space to? I forgot what I was talking about. What?
The idea.
The idea. So the idea, you got to give it space, and what's growing? What's growing? When I talk about this feeling and it feels true, the reason you give space to it is because something grows. Something continues to expand. The energy and your will. Not your human will, but the truth will, the divine will, if you like. Okay, the will grows because manifesting has all got to do with willing something. You are willing it. It almost means it aligns with the word of allowing it. You are willing it. You are letting this feeling and you're willing it. You reach deep into yourself and you will this. Right now, I'm manifesting these words. I reach deep inside of myself and I will. I said that I knew I'm talking about manifestation 2 months ago because we haven't had an OMG for 2 months, right? But the will to know what I'm going to talk about wasn't strong enough until last week. Why? Because the time became shortened and I realized OMG is coming up in 4 days. So then I sat and I pondered and I reached within myself and willed the information. Can you see? And that's all I'm doing. It's willing. So to make something grow, space. So this movie that I'm talking to you about, all I do is just give it space. I'll know when it's time. Okay? Now here's the other thing I wanted to be very clear, especially you're in business as well and anyone else who's in business. Sometimes you get intelligent ideas, but they lack the feeling. Clever ideas. Who's clever? The ego is very clever. So you get clever ideas. For example, okay, but when you get the clever ideas, the feeling's not there, may not be there. So I may get a clever idea in my business or in business, but unless I have the fuel, I'm not doing it. Because an idea without fuel, without, in other words, heart, without will, is nothing. It's an empty box, empty shell. Like the cicada, you know the cicada, when it leaves its shell and flies away, that's all it is, it's just an empty shell. Okay? So recently, where our office is in Bondi Junction, most of you know, Bondi Beach, I'm sorry, downstairs from us, which is owned by the same, our landlord, there's a Thai restaurant. And that Thai restaurant just recently closed down. Perfect location, right? It's a great spot for like a health food kind of place. Even maybe a bit of a gym, because it's got this massive outdoors and there's no roof in the back, and you could do an outdoor gym and you could do like a juice bar, you could do 7 days trading, you can do breakfast, lunch, dinner, you can get alcohol license. All these ideas like it's downstairs, I'll get someone to run it, you know. I know will kill it. Like stuff like that in LA kills it, absolutely kills it. Like there's lines out the door for things like that, you know, like Cafe Gratitude, and they're always busy. And in Bondi, it lacks that. And the thing is, Bondi has got that crowd that are really interested in health and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's a great idea. Great idea. You know, it's downstairs, it's perfect, you know. I mean, I won't run it, but it's a great business, right? But the feeling wasn't there. It lacks the fuel. Just a clever idea. Lacks the fuel. If I'm just interested in building some money and going back and chasing money, then great idea. All right? But lacks the fuel. What I'm doing here does not lack fuel. The movie idea does not lack fuel, but the fuel's not complete. So I keep giving it space. So I'm just giving you 3 different examples, because sometimes you have a clever idea, no fuel. Let it go. Let it go. Especially in times of pressure. You know how many times in times of pressure, no money, I had business ideas, and I'm a good businessman, okay? I had business ideas, no fuel. Let it go. And sometimes the fuel is there, but you got to give it space. You got to massage it. You got to let it grow. Keep giving more. You'll just know when it's time to act on it. Okay? And sometimes it's the feeling, when the feeling comes to you. In fact, the feeling's probably been coming to you for years or a long time, and it hits stronger and stronger. You got to act right then. Do not think of it. Do not hesitate. Okay? I'll give you an example of when the feeling hit me. All right? I can give you plenty, but here's one. I hope the examples help, because I just want you to relate this to your own stories. When I first started Be Free People, right? Because I wanted to share this information. I sold my other company, did nothing for a whole 9 months, 12 months, right? And then I felt to start sharing this information. So then I started a company. Now, most of you know, I used to be a promoter. So when I realized that I'm going to be speaking, I was thinking this is going to be easy, right? Because I'm a promoter and I used to promote speakers. Now I'll be the promoter and the speaker. This is going to be easy. So when I decided to start speaking, I went and got an office. I got an office with a friend of mine, Kerwin Ray. You probably know him. We shared an office and in North Sydney, and I went to start building a team. I went and started to build what I knew. I knew how to do this. See, it's coming from here. It's coming from knowledge. I'm not going to wisdom. This is a new moment. That wasn't the past, Amir. See, I wasn't still advanced then. I would go, well, I know how to do this. I've got it in the bag. Build a team, sales reps, had 4 or 5 people ready to go, started building, doing joint ventures. And then it's just, the whole thing was heavy. It just didn't feel right, and it wasn't clicking. There was no flow, and I was just like, and I would push harder, and then I was like, hang on a sec, it's not what it's about. So I pulled out, got rid of the office, let go, right? Because it wasn't true. What was true for me was just to sit. But then my head would go, but I know how to promote you, Amir, let's go, I would talk myself. And then maybe a year later, all right. Again, my brother came and goes, I've got this office and it's in the city. You can have 1 floor, Your business is not going to grow if you don't get an office. And I was like, yeah, it's time. I should get an office again. And then I had another crack. Got an office. It was me and 1 person in this big office, and it was just never clicking, right? Again, the fuel wasn't there. The fuel was there to speak, but not to promote. You guys have heard me talk about this where I've said I never wanted to promote. It didn't feel true. Then I finally realized, Amir, it just doesn't feel true for me to go do business, promoting, marketing, starting a business, starting an office. It just feels true to speak. Just go and speak. So then all I did was just went and speak for the next couple of years. And then one day, I was driving just in Sydney, and I'm driving along. It was coming to Christmas. It was 2 years ago. December 2 years ago. Driving along, and I look at the building, and there's a building up there, and it just said office for rent. It's not the office I got, but it just was a sign. The sign that said office for rent gave me a feeling, and the feeling went boom. You see? And when I say boom, it's a subtle boom. So don't all go, sometimes you get a subtle and you go, oh, that wasn't the big boom Amir mentioned. It's subtle. And it was a boom, And then right there I knew I was getting office. Now guess what comes into my head? Well, you got an office 2 times before, it never worked before, what makes you short? But I knew. And then I went and got an office, and then we got a team. It was time. It wasn't time for me before because I had to keep practicing the content. I was almost training myself to be able to present this for the first 3 years. Okay, so that's a little example. So every time I've gone without the feeling, it's never worked. You got to let the feeling come and move this body. In the meditation before, we were talking about, stay present with me, guys. Okay, you'll sense what I'm saying to you. In the meditation, we talked about connecting to that space, but then bringing that space back into this body. Not back into the body, but moving this body. That's how manifestation takes place. It's you are manifesting this body. You as this body is not manifesting. This body is the manifested. The manifested doesn't have any control, any power. The manifested is the light that comes from the projector. It's a shadow that's created. It doesn't have any power. The light has the power. The light coming from the sun that creates a shadow, that's the one, if you like, the infinite source. The shadow, in this case, is the manifested. The manifested doesn't have any power. You can't change the shadow. Can you see what I'm saying?
No, actually something.
Yes.
When we came back with that energy, I found it, I was getting flashes. I wasn't thinking like I would normally. And so when you asked the question, it's like, since I'd come back, I just was getting flashes. There was no actual sitting there going, oh, that thought. So for me, I didn't feel like it was possible to think when I was sitting with the energy that I tapped into during my meditation.
So you were thinking in your meditation, or?
No, when I came back and was feeling energy,
Yep.
I was getting flashes of things while we were talking,
Yep.
but I wasn't actually thinking.
Yep.
So when you said, are you here?
Yep.
I didn't know what to say because I actually didn't feel I could think to speak, if that makes sense. It's like as if my brain was sort of closed because I was still sitting in the feeling, the energy buzzing feeling.
You can think, but there's difference between you thinking versus the feeling using your thoughts, which is when you're pondering.
Yeah.
The feeling, like when I'm right now I'm using my thoughts to speak. I'm using my left brain to create language, okay? But I'm not speaking from my head. If I was speaking from my head, you guys wouldn't feel what I'm saying to you. Can you see? I am speaking from the feeling. So I'm allowing the feeling to move through me and then use the thoughts and speak. There's a difference between that. There's a difference between allowing the feeling to move you versus you moving this body.
Yeah.
You move this body fine, but it's just limited. That's all. Everything you do is limited. Everything. That's why I always say people would just build a big penthouse in their prison. You're still in a prison. When you're using this body, you're still in a prison. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how big your cushion is, how comfortable you are, you're still limited. You're still afraid. Still not enough. So the question is, which part of you is using you?
I actually feel when I sit with someone, I feel really connected, and something will come up, and I'll mention it. And
Yeah.
there'll be something that they asked, and then you will open up the other. Like when I feel like I'm speaking to you,
Yeah.
it's a feeling that that's the space I was in. But I still feel like I'm sort of in that. It's like spacey. And that's not the right way, but
You're not getting woo-woo on me, are you?
no, no.
Okay.
Just curious. Because it took a minute when you asked the question. It's like,
Because that's why I asked you if you were here, because you look like you're spaced out.
yeah, but in a good way, not in a daydreaming kind of way where you sit spaced out with
I
thoughts.
see lots of people spaced out in a good way. And they have a big smile on their face. I don't know. I mean, when you're really present, you're not spaced out. It's like your soul, your mind, your body, all is aligning in one. You're not spaced out. If anything, you're in this zone, but you're really super present. You're alert of everything. So you're not spaced out. So the part of you that's spaced out goes to your head.
It's not spaced out. That was the wrong word, but I can't explain it in words.
Okay. Cool. How are you taking all this information at the moment? You all right? Does it seem familiar?
I think I am. So yes, I'm like that, what you're explaining, but when there's things that I don't want, like feelings that are fearful, that are generated out of fear, I tend to ignore it. Or I think I'm ignoring it rather than
Where does the feelings out of fear come from?
the ego, but in the sense of,
Yeah, but where does...
so at the moment I'm not working, and
Okay.
you know, yeah, I'm okay, but I think I've got that security because I've sold my place, and so there's that money there. So am I really just being, or am I? And so I'll go, I don't want to think about that, and just be.
Yeah.
So it's how do you differentiate and making sure that you are being true and I know it's yeah. I don't even know what I'm asking.
You're right, though. You don't know. That's why when someone hits the bottom and they've actually got no money, they're in the best position because you really know now that you can manifest, you know. But someone like yourself has got a bit of a cushion,
Yeah.
okay? The moment you want to do something, or you know, you may feel like to be right now, and that's fine. You just be. But there'll be a moment where something will come that will create you to, I guess there'll be a leap that you still need to take. So someone who's got no money left in the bank account, all right, which I get quite a few times, people come from that space, they got to make this leap, you know, even though they got to make a leap of following what's true for them without looking at the money circumstances. You'll create a different leap.
I'm just making sure I'm not being lazy.
No, that's usually the ego speaking, because I had that a lot as well when I, you know, being in business, and then the feeling was just to do nothing, and I was just like, oh, I'm just being lazy. It was a big thing for me. Like,
Yeah, because I was in the city the other day, and I was just like, I do not miss this scene at all. And there's jobs coming up, and you know, well-paying jobs and all that, and I was just like, yeah, it was. And then I'll just see who's not working that week and hang out with them, and then prefer that kind of lifestyle at the moment. It's not, yeah. I'm just not driven to go and get that world again.
okay. So what are you driven for? Or what are you inspired for? What do you feel open to?
I booked a volunteer holiday. I've always wanted to do charity work.
Yeah.
But again, like I've wanted to do it, I am looking forward to it, but I'm not jumping up for joy going, yeah, I'm going to do it. Like it's, yeah. And I'm just, wherever it takes me then, I'm trying to put faith in that.
Trying to put faith in that.
It's like, you can say it, and I think I am, and then when I think I am, then I think I'm putting too much. Like I don't want to be one of those woo-woo people going, I'm just going to let the world take me for who I am, but am I really letting that happen? Like it's all words?
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
Amir,
Yeah.
when you said like think about the feeling that you have when you want something, it doesn't work for me because I don't want something. Like how?
Well, if you don't want something, then that's fine.
But you can't
What don't you want?
like
Sometimes you don't want something, okay, to express something from with you because your focus is all on what you don't want.
wonder.
Do you know what you don't want?
Yep.
You do. So you went straight away, yep. So sometimes You don't know what you want because you're consumed by what you don't want.
Well, I know what I want, but
You just said you
comes-
don't.
No, I know what I want, but it comes from what I don't want.
Is it, well,
Like,
yeah. So that's why I'm saying don't look at changing what you don't want. So that, like I said before, you could look at, well, I don't have money. I don't want to not have money. Then you go, I want it. And then you go and create saying, I want to have money. And that's what I want. But that's not necessarily true. You got to let what you want to come from what's true for you. If you've come up from here and gone, well, you know, I don't want this, then I will, and then I ask you, what do you want? Then you go, well, I want, and you look at the opposite and you go, well, I want this.
but on the other hand, what I want, it's really what I want now. But
What are we talking about here? Let's just open up.
on my job.
Your job. You don't want your job? Okay, so what do you want?
Well, something else, like something else in medical.
Okay,
Um,
so why don't you want your job? That's the thing you want to look at.
it doesn't work for me anymore. It doesn't. I'm not connected with my job. at
Okay,
all.
so do you have any resistance about it?
Well, I'm doing it, and but I'm not connected. And
So why don't you
what I-
decide not to do it anymore?
Why don't you? Because well, I can't. Like, because it pays the bills, obviously.
Okay, so when you're ready to decide that you don't want it anymore and you're ready to move on, then maybe what you want then will come. Or you'll become aware of what you want.
So you're saying basically I just leave it? Like,
No, see, most people think decision means an action. Okay? Do you see where she just said, like, I said, well, why don't you leave, why don't you decide to move your job? Decide to leave your job. And she went, well, it pays the bills, right? So you can't make the decision based on the story. You got to make the decision based on the feeling. If you feel no longer to be there, you go, well, I'm moving on from this.
Everything else becomes irrelevant.
Do you understand? But the decision's not made to move on from this. And we've been having this conversation since you joined OMG, I reckon. Right? You've been wanting to leave your job, but you never, it's the sentence, it's the thought that you have straight away after, but it pays the bills. Okay? Now, in the story, that's true. But let's have a look at this. Does your job pay your bills? Do you make money from your job? That's the biggest lie. It's an illusion. You don't make money from your business or from your job. Let's have a look at your current manifestations. This will simplify this. All right. Now, I know in the story you do. You're like, yeah, I do. You know, this is paying my bills. This job. No, it's not. Okay. You do your job because, or whatever it is that you do, your work, or you know, your business, whatever, because you love to. Okay. There is a part of you that has decided to live a certain lifestyle. There's a part of you that's decided that this is the space, or this is what I love to have. I love to live in a house like this. I love to have, live this kind of lifestyle. I want to have this kind of clothes. I want to, the things that you love. There's a certain thing that you've decided. Then you manifest a story, and in this story it's a job or a business or a lottery or whatever it is. You manifest a story that it pays you what you've already decided. I know that's a big head fuck, right? But that's the truth. You've decided to have this. You've decided to live here. Then the money, or you live in a story. So then you need to create in the story how that happens. So in the story you have this thing called money. Okay? In the story you've had this. Let me give you an example. If right now you said to yourself, I would love to have, let's just say you really felt true to expand your lifestyle. You really love to expand your lifestyle. If it felt true, right? And it will only feel true if you have space for it. If it felt true for you to expand your lifestyle, if you can then align your decision with your heart. In other words, with your head, you check in to within your heart for the decision that's already made. Just understand something. If the feeling has arisen within you, that is a reflection of the decision that's been made by the One. So the decision's already made, and the feeling has already come. So all you're allowing yourself to do is going, yes, I'm going to live this way. I am going to live this lifestyle. Then you manifest a new story. For example, suddenly you get picked up to be this face of, children's books or something, and all this new income comes in, and suddenly you've got a new job and you're no longer doing that job. But can you see what I'm saying? It's not the opposite. It's not you thinking, I would love to be more wealthy, I would love to expand my lifestyle, I need to go and change the story, I need to go get a new job. It's not the job that pays you. You're paying yourself. How much you get paid has got to do with you. Okay? Now, it's never, and that's why I use the word lifestyle. It's never money that you're sorting after. It's lifestyle. It's the way you want to live. Okay? We decided, I won't go into lots of stories about me, but it really comes down to you going, yes, this is what I'm going to follow. So for example, you don't want the job, you got to decide that that's it. I no longer want this job. This is not what I want. And the decision's got to be made. And it has to be a wholehearted decision. It can't be a half-hearted decision. Then the story changes its manifestation. The reason why things don't change is because you haven't changed. You haven't decided. It's so funny. Like, all you got to do, and it's funny when I say decide. Do you guys want to take a bathroom break?
Yeah.
Give me a sec. I'll take one now. All you got to do is look for the decision that's already made. The infinite being is already made decision. There's no decision making. So when you're checking with yourself, you check in with a decision that's already made. When you feel what's true for you, that's a decision made. But then it's about aligning that formless part of you, the infinite part of you, with this part, the finite. It's about aligning it to come through you.
So you're basically saying, I don't need to actively leave my job, but because I'm thinking the bill is paying through this job, it's not going to happen.
I'm saying because you're looking at this, you're looking at making this. Baby, I'm speaking Persian with you. Listen, you just got to go into your heart, and your heart says you want to move on. Okay? If it's true for you to move on from your job, it says it wants to move on. Then follow it. Then decide to follow the decision that's already been made. Decide this is the heart and head coming as one, working together rather than against each other. Decide up here to follow the decision that's already made in the feeling. That's all you got to do. Like I said to you about the girl at my WTF this weekend, she decided, I'm moving to Brisbane. In that particular point, she didn't go and say, but I have no one in Brisbane, but I'll lose my job. She just happened to miss that. For whatever reason, she just went, I'm moving to Brisbane. After doing the WTF, it goes, I can feel I want to move to Brisbane. She lives in Melbourne. She decided to move to Brisbane. Then the story changed to support the decision. Then, in the second part, she wants to go and work as a youth worker. So she comes back and she goes, I want to work for a youth worker. But in this case, she went, but I'm a single mother. I'm da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. It's like, what do you want me to do? You're not making a decision. So can you see the two difference? If she went, connects to the feeling, if she decides to follow the decision that's already been made, okay, That's all you got to do. It's simple. But to be able to do that, you can't look at the story. Because the story will go, what are you talking about? Because in the stories, you know, you need money to pay, you know, for your kids. In the story, you need security. And that's true in the story. But the story is manifested from the decisions you've made. So when you make your decision, when you decide to follow the decision that's made, the story changes. And I told her, you just did it before, go and do it again. She's like, but this time it's with money. In other words, but it's this time, it's dealing with something that I've got a lot of power in. I put my lot of power in that. It's the same thing. You haven't decided. You have to decide, and then suddenly you'll see the story changes. And you go, oh, you know, maybe they fire you. Maybe they make you redundant. Maybe what's true for you will show up. You see? All right.